Hello and welcome to Centurion Sculpt, and today we are reviewing from Marvel Legends and the Spider-Man No Way Home movie, the 3-pack Spider-Man. Now, it feels ages ago when these guys got confirmed, and then all of a sudden they showed them off, and now they're here in their little grassy little mitts, and I can't believe like it's sort of come around that cycle so quick. I was kind of expecting them to like reveal it, and then later on this year we will start having them in our hands, but we have got them here straight away and I can't wait. So yeah, Tobey Maguire, we got Andrew Garfield, and we got Tom Holland Spider-Man's here, looking fantastic. I can't wait for a Tom Holland figure. I just want to really open them up for this one. Andrew Garfield was always my kind of least, and I know that's kind of controversy there, but he was my least Spider-Man. But I do love this outfit when they brought it back out a little bit more comic-y. It's definitely a lot better than the first Amazing Spider-Man outfit. But yeah, looking pretty cool here. It still plays with my OCD. I still find like the pictures like this feels like it's the back of the box, but this is the front here. And we got the Tobey Maguire one in that kind of nice little sort of pouch kind of sitting position that he kind of always done. Bit of a strange kind of pose here from Andrew Garfield one, and Tom Holland as well. I think the posing looks a bit off. His head looks absolutely massive. Down here we've got the actual movie and a little bit of jargon on this side. On this part here we've got them all perched down waiting for action on this side, and this side we've got them all jumping into action as well, so looking pretty cool. On the back we've got them all sort of posed up with all their separate hands, and then we've got a web kind of slinging kind of bit of accessory each. On the top layer we've got a little Spider-Man logo and a bit more jargon down here. So I guess without further ado, let's crack these bad boys open. So here they are in their little box. So I thought I'll bring it out so I can show you the actual presentation of the box itself. So it is in a nice big sort of large kind of cardboard kind of sleeve here. But just popping it open, we've got a few bags inside here. So I guess these are the accessories for the hands. And then we also got the web slinging kind of bits here as well. So we just take those out and a couple of instructions. And then we got the 3 guys here in their cryogenic sleep, or in their morgue bags as I like to call them. So you just got all the 3 here. So they just pull these ones out and we can go through each one for our first impressions. And then here they are. So first starting off is this one. I think this could be Tobey Maguire. I'm not 100% sure. And it is. And yeah, really liking the look of that. I really like the sort of like the look of this sort of like the silver webbing and stuff on there. And actually the head isn't too bad as much as I thought. There was a little bit of speculation that the eyes look quite wide apart, but yeah, he looks really nice actually. He looks really cool. Next up, this one here. This one looks like Tom Holland. Now I was never a massive fan of this suit either. I kind of wish that having the 3 together, they were kind of more traditional kind of Spider-Man, but this one's actually got the new sort of web lines and all that. I never actually picked up the original one of this either, but yeah, kind of liking it. Really like the actual red lines or the black lines on there actually, so looking pretty cool. I did update the Homecoming suit a little while back, and yeah, I think it'll look better in this one here, but we'll take that for the review. And then we have Andrew Garfield. And actually I really like this as well. It kind of really looks like a comic version, but realistic, if that makes sense. I know that won't make sense in my eyes or in my head, but yeah, he's looking great as well. So I can't wait to really put these guys through some poses, set them up in some nice sort of pictures here, and I guess we'll see you in a mo. So if you're enjoying the review, don't forget to hit that like button, and also if you are a fan of the channel, or you find yourself more often here than not, then you can always like and subscribe and ding that bell so you get more notifications for next time for more reviews, updates, customs and so forth. Away, we are taking these guys pictures, and I must admit that Hasbro have done a fantastic job here. I think they've done a really good job with these figures. My expectations were going to be quite high, and I thought they was just going to slowly break down as I got them out of the box, but actually yeah, it is really good. Yes, accessories could be a little bit better. Yes, we could have alternative heads and stuff like that, but I think what we got here is pretty good. I'm not suggesting that the price was a good place, but in all, I think it's still a good pack to have all these figures in one place, to be honest with you. So first of all, what can I say initially about the figures is that Toby and Andrew come out of the box quite stiff. Not that they was happy getting out of the box, it's just that the actual torso around these areas was really stiff. So when I was trying to twist it around this way, he just wouldn't have it, and it was just really hard to do so. So I put him into a little sort of a little bath, I guess, of hot water, and then twisting it around just slowly actually gave way for it to twist. I actually popped a tiny little bit of oil in there, and yeah, it works fantastic now. But if it does feel a little bit kind of hard to turn and they don't seem to be turning at all, do not, and I repeat, do not keep trying and hoping that one day it will turn, because you'll end up stressing the actual pin inside and probably end up with half a Spider-Man. But yeah, just be careful with that. But I just left them in that water there for about 20 seconds, and once I got them out, I gave them a little twist, and they were fine. So yeah, just looking at the accessories, they come with a strand of webbing, which is one of these sort of like straight translucent bits of web. I'm never a massive fan of Hasbro's sort of webbing at all. I just feel like it's just useless. You can't really do anything with it. I kind of wish it had a wire in it and stuff like that. You got this horrible kind of like mechanism at the top here, which would normally they would hold. It just doesn't look natural either, like shooting out of their wrist or anything like that. I kind of would like just one of these, and maybe like the accessories that come with the new Gameverse Spider-Man, with those sort of web attacks that kind of fit over people's heads and over the shoulders and stuff like that. That would be fantastic. And have one of these, and you know, they have to sort of interchange all the webbings. That would be great. But yeah, not a massive fan of these. I actually made my own one probably about a year ago. You look in the tutorial videos where you can have these sort of webbing parts. You can make them really long, short, it's up to you. This one is kind of like my webbing that gets fired towards the camera, so it's nice and short, and you can sort of twist it and turn it around, and it has all those details in there as well. So if you're interested in making your own webbing for your Spider-Man, check out that video there. I'll try and put it in the description down below as well. So they all come with those, and they all come with sort of like 4 alternative pairs of hands each, which is really nice, or 3 alternative pair of hands each, I'll say. So starting off with Tobey Maguire, he has these little fisty bumpy ones here. Got the nice silver sort of raised areas all over top, really nice details, really intricate on there, and you can actually see all that texture inside there as well, which is really nice. The other hands he comes with are his little whipping hands, and again got the nice little textures all on there on places, and we've got all that silver webbing as well, so it's nice and shiny all over the figure. And they're on the hinge system and the peg system as well. For Tom, we have these ones here, whipping fingers. Unfortunately, I haven't put the actual black lines on these guys, even though they have put the black lines on the actual figure itself. Again, got all the details in there as well on the hinge and the peg system, and looking pretty cool. And also he comes with fist bumps as well, and all Spider-Man need these as well. Last but no means least, we have Andrew Garfield, and he comes with fisty bumps as well. These look really small and tiny, but for the actual Spider-Man, when they're on there, they don't look too bad. And you've got all that black webbing on there, and the black webbing is slightly just raised as well. It's not just painted on there, and you've got slight texture there on the red. Again, on the peg system and the hinges. And then we have web shooters as well. Looking pretty cool with the raised, and no sort of like colour bleed either on those sort of black fingers on there. So yeah, pretty cool. Actually, let's rate the accessories. They come with the enough amount of Spider-Man hands, and I'm not a massive appreciation of the actual webbing itself, but I'll still give it a pass. I think it still gets through. We have got the other hands on here, which is kind of like the gestured kind of sword calling hands. It's just that there's a few Spider-Man that have been coming out recently with only one of each for each hand, like a whip hand, one open palmed, and maybe one fist. So at least we have got pairs in here. And I know for the price that's what we expect, but at least we got it. So I will give it a tick and a pass for that. But looking at these guys, we can go for the articulation, and first of all we'll go with Tobey Maguire, and we go back down here. So head wise, he can turn left, he can turn right, he can look down, and he can look up. He can't really look up that far, and unfortunately he hasn't got the little groove on the back up here, that he can't peel it back a little bit more like the original kind of Renew Your Vows Spider-Man. You've got that extra little hole at the back there to really sort of raise up the head slightly a little bit more. I kind of wish they went back to a hinge for Spider-Man, that's for sure. Full rotation around up here on the arm, comes up to this far. We've got a butterfly joint in there as well, which isn't too bad, but I wish it kind of went back just a little bit more there. We've got rotation at the upper arm. We've got a double elbow joint as well, which is pinless as well. Rotation at the wrist, and it's also on a hinge. We've got the waist swivel at the sort of diaphragm area, so we can turn left and right. He can crunch this far and crunch back this far, and then he's got the extra crunch down the bottom, so he can really crunch down and really crunch back as well. Leg wise can come up this way, they can go forward, back, upper thigh rotation at the top there, and you've also got a nice drop knee, well, hip shall I say. We've got a double knee joint as well, which this one's really stiff, just got to be careful. Even though I have pushed this sometimes and it's been quite stiff here, the glue at the leg down here has slightly come undone a little bit, so just again be careful. There's no boot rotation though, but we have a rocker and a pivot at the ankle. So all in all, really good Spider-Man articulation there. Kind of generic sort of legs down here without that kind of rotation, but with those butterfly joints and stuff at the top there, it's really nice. Going over to Tom, we just put Tobey down here. So with Tom, he can turn left, he can turn right, he can look down this far, and he can look up this way. He has only just got the crunch there at his waist, so he only can go back and forward, and he's actually got a waist swivel left and right. Arm wise, he can come up to this far, which isn't that far at all for Spider-Man. He's got a butterfly joint as well in the inside, but it doesn't go back that far. This is how far it goes back. But if you do rotate it around so the shoulder is facing forward, you actually get a little bit more out the butterfly joint, and you can use that sort of pivot of the actual shoulder as well. You've got the full rotation. We've got the arm rotation up here. We've got a double elbow joint up at the top here, which is also pinless. Rotation around at the wrist, and it's also on a hinge. And then down on the legs, there's no drop hip, unfortunately, on here, but we've got forward, we've got back, we've got upper thigh rotation here, and they can come up this far as well. We have got double knee joint, again, stiff, which I always find with pinless stuff, it's always quite stiff, to be honest. And then we've got the rotation and the rocker at the boot, but there's no rotation at the boot cuff, shall we say. And last but no means least, we have Andrew Garfield, and he can go left, he can go right, he can look down, and he can look up, but again, it hasn't got that bit at the back there, so it is a little bit hindered. Full rotation around up here, and it comes up to this far. We've got a butterfly joint, and he has the best butterfly joint in the actual set here. Rotation at the arm. We've got a double elbow joint as well, which is quite thin for this guy. We've got rotation around at the wrist, and it's also on a hinge. We've got the waist swivel or diaphragm swivel around there, getting a little bit more stiffer there, but just be careful with that. He can crunch forward, crunch back, and then he's got the further crunching forward and the further crunching back. Legs can come up this way, they've dropped down. We've got the drop hip as well, got full rotation around at the upper thigh. We've got a double knee joint as well, coming up this far. No boot rotation, but we've got the rocker and the pivot at the ankle. Well, that is a lot of articulation. And then articulation wise, it's definitely a tick there for me. It is really good. The only frustrations parts of it is I kind of would like a boot rotation here, just for sometimes with Spider-Man when his like legs are sort of like that nice poised position on the ground. Yeah, I mean, I kind of wish there was a little bit more at the back on the neck up here as well, and I think it would definitely work. So yeah, all in all, pretty good, and I definitely would give it a nice pass there for the articulation. So going back to Tobey, we can actually go through this guy's sculpt, and yeah, looking really, really nice here. All that webbing is all raised up over the top. I actually thought that they was going to sort of like screw the head and stuff on there, but it looks really good in my opinion. I kind of was a bit concerned with the silver around on this. It's kind of like the webbing part, because it kind of goes more sort of straight lined rather than sort of rounded like at the top. But actually that's what the mask was like. And but the more I sort of look at it, I don't actually mind it. It doesn't really put me off as much as I thought the pictures were like. But yeah, looking really good. Coming down to the actual spider suit itself with that sort of metallic kind of spider on there, and that's just shining out. Looks really cool. All over the figure as well, you've got this extra kind of sort of texturing, just like that, really close on there. So you've got all that kind of sort of scales and stuff over the actual figure, and down on the arms as well. This one, these are his open sort of palmed fingers, and I really like his open sort of like wall crawling hands, because he got that kind of sort of like crunch there in his fingers where he really looks like he's pressing up against the wall. It always reminds me of like the original poster when it came out. So yeah, really nice on there as well. And coming down to the rest of there on the back, we have got the red spider as well coming across, and it's carrying on that blue texture all the way down through the actual blueness of his legs and then down to his boots as well. So yeah, really nice there, really nice looking. And then next up we go back to Tom, and this one I would say is probably looks like the most plainish, to be honest, compared to the others, because they all got that texture over the body, and this one is just kind of really kind of more comic looking. So at least this time they've actually put all the black lines in there. We've actually got this sort of like the sculpt at the top there for his sort of lenses that he adjusts. Got a nice kind of gold all over the spider parts, and it's actually a really nice painted gold as well. It doesn't look too sort of like pearlescent and stuff. We've got the extra kind of blue look parts there painted into his gauntlets as well, looking pretty cool. And we've got all that extra detail in there in his legs. On the box it actually kind of looks blue, but it is, I guess it isn't, more of a black on the actual inside there, but I'm not too sure if it's supposed to be like a bluish black. I'm not 100% sure, but the actual figure itself looks more black to me. But yeah, looking up on here, we've got all the extra webbing and the gold lines coming through as well. So yeah, looking pretty cool. There is an inaccuracy as well with this figure. He's not supposed to have the gauntlets at the end of well, in the actual main fight it doesn't have these little gauntlet parts, but you can, if you wanted to, you can actually pop off his hands and then pop them back on and take off the actual web, sort of like a cartridge kind of gauntlet parts. But it does leave a little very odd kind of sculpt there. But if you didn't want it and you want it on the shelf, you probably could get away with it. Maybe a little bit of extra paint down there just along that redness a little bit more, so it doesn't look too thin, and I think you would get away with it. So if you wanted to, you could do so. And last but no means least, again we can go back to Andrew, and I do feel like this is probably one of the better looking Spider-Men out of it all. But this one's actually got a nice metallic red sheen over the top of it. It just kind of looks a bit like a bog standard red here, but it's actually a really dark red, almost going to like sort of some cherry wine kind of colour. So yeah, it just kind of really kind of pops. With his eye lenses looking really nice here. We've got the red and the black webbing all over the top on there as well, and it's all slightly raised, as I said, as well, so it's not sort of really painted onto the figure. And just all over it as well, he's actually got that nice texture as well on the inside of all that suit as well. So when you get really close, you can see all that texture really pop. Got the label on the front with the logo, shall I say, and they got the red on the back, and then going down to all the rest of the actual figure as well, looking really cool. This guy's got slightly different hand gestures as well. This one's got a bit more curled and a little bit more of the sort of like the emo sort of pointing finger in a way, and then he's got the more sort of open gestured hand as well. I kind of feel like this one here, hand here, I feel like it's like the pointing out sort of hand, like the gesture to sort of like grab Gwen as she's like falling down, in my opinion. So yeah, it's kind of like a nice little nod there. But yeah, a really nice looking figure, and I think they've done them really well. And yeah, again, I think for the actual textureness and the extra details that they've added to the figures and stuff, it's definitely a tick for me. So looking over the actual guys, we're going to sort of grade them up just to the actual Spider-Man. And I think the Tobey Maguire, to be honest, I think is deserving of a definite gold. I really like it. I think it's just done well. I just think he looks great. I do feel like he's a little bit too small, but that's like the MCU anyway. Like, they are a bit of a smaller figure. And again, I think Andrew Garfield, I think he's deserving of a gold as well. He's a really nice looking figure, and I kind of like, he looks kind of like a realistic type Spider-Man. And this, to me, as I said at the beginning, it reminds me of like a cartoon-esque realistic Spider-Man. He just looks gangly, looks tall. Well, Spider-Man's not really tall, but he's just got that kind of sort of like lanky look for him. And I think it just work really well. So we just plonk him on here. And we got the Tobey Maguire. I'm getting all the names mixed up. This one's Tom Holland. And it's my least favourite. I just don't feel like it just feels great. I just feel like they could have gone off and done a better looking Tom Holland sculpt for me. I just think it just looks a little bit naff in my opinion, but it might be because of the suit. For me, it's not really reminiscent of Spider-Man. It's not really like a really cool looking sort of like suit in my opinion. And so for me, this guy actually probably in a I don't want to give him a bronze, but I think it's more of like a, let's just say silver. Let's just put it up there because he's got those extra weapons and stuff on there. But I will say let's just go for a silver for him. But yeah, I'm a huge fan of that figure, unfortunately. So with that, with the review over and done with, what we can do now, we can do some comparisons. So I'll just bring in some other sort of like franchises here. I'll bring in Indiana Jones, so you can actually see what kind of size comparisons like these guys are too. And then we've got G.I. Joe over this side as well. So it's kind of like a nice sort of scale here. They do all fit in, and I'll just put a nice friendly Stormtrooper at the front here, so you can see that the actual scales of size really kind of like falls through the 6-inch line of Hasbro here. And then we do have the Renew Your Vows Spider-Man as well, and I'll be bringing on a few other Spider-Man in a minute, where we can do some comparison shots and stuff over the top. But yeah, as you can see, like this guy is quite sort of massive compared to most of them. And yeah, so they kind of do fall in line with the other Spider-Men, but yeah, you can see that there's going to be some sort of size comparisons in there where they look a little bit too short at some sort of stages. So with that, we're going to go through the Peter Parker heads now. So I have a Peter Parker head here from Renew Your Vows Spider-Man. On that one, really nice sculpt, very sort of reminiscence there of the old comic. And then I also have the one from What If as well, so more of a cartoony look Peter Parker here. Never been a massive fan of this one, but it is a Peter Parker nonetheless if you have it at home. And then we've got the 2-pack with Ned, Tom Holland as well. So I will put this one on this one over here to try that, but I will also put it onto these guys as well, just in case you was interested as well. So here's the Tom Holland with the comic accurate kind of Peter Parker. Maybe it looks a little bit too large, but it kind of works. It can kind of sort of like look there. I think it just looks a little bit sort of chunky on the head sort of size. It maybe looks a little bit too large. So we just pop this one off, and then we'll try on this one, which is the sort of What If. Oh, just a bit of a push on there. And again, that doesn't work, you know, doesn't look too bad. It kind of works as well. So if that's the only Spider-Man or Peter Parker that you got, it does work. And then we can try the last one. Just got to be careful on this because the actual neck as well seems to be sort of like coming away at the bottom there. And then we can try on this one, which is the Tom Holland. And again, doesn't look too bad. It actually looks like Tom Holland's grown up a little bit, and I think that body type for that Tom Holland as well actually works really, really well. So for the Andrew sculpt, we have got the comic accurate one here. Again, it does come out a little bit too large again. It is definitely in the shoulders there, and I think the head just looks slightly too large for this guy. So we just pop this one off, and then we'll try on the What If. Popping that on, just like so. And yeah, again, that one's not too bad, to be honest. I think that one kind of works. Kind of gives off that sort of Andrew Garfield kind of look more than Tom Holland as well for a comic look. And then taking that one off, we can try Tom Holland as well. And I'm wondering if this one's going to be a little bit too gangly. Actually, it kind of works, doesn't it? It looks all right, to be honest. Got a nice sort of like, even more of an adult sort of like Tom Holland there. Looking pretty cool. It actually looks like he's sulking a little bit there, doesn't he? But yeah, I think this one actually kind of works pretty well, to be honest with you. And now we'll try actual Tom himself. So first up, comic accurate Peter Parker. Again, just looking a little bit too large there, especially on this body. He actually looks like a killer midget. We'll take this one off, and then we can try the What If. And just putting that one on. This one always feels a bit too stiff. I think it's that neck joint. It's just making this guy look way too short as well. He just kind of looks like another angry dwarf. We'll take that one off, and then we can try the Tom Holland. And hopefully this one works quite well, because the other one did have a removable head of a Tom Holland. And I think that one kind of works a little bit more as well, because you can actually see his neck. It doesn't sort of go all the way down. So again, I think the Tom Holland one works on that one. So I guess it's ticks for all three for the Tom Holland head all the way through. So that we'll just bring the actual review to an end, but before we do so, we will bring in some Spider-Man as well. And so these are the most kind of traditional Spider-Man that I do have on the shelf. Actually, I don't have that many in comic kind of form, but this is the Renew Your Vows Spider-Man. To me, it's the ultimate Spider-Man out there. Is a fantastic reminiscence of that kind of comic era on there. So we'll just put him on the side here. But you can see he looks a lot larger compared to these guys here. They make all these guys look like little kids all dressed up. The other sort of Spider-Man that I've got in the sort of traditional colours is obviously the Japanese Spider-Man here, in that very kind of orange look that he has. Again, he was a little bit smaller in sort of size, so he can stand there, and you can see that he sort of falls in line with these ones here. The other Spider-Man I do have is the What If. This one I did actually upgrade at a little later date. I might go back over it with a flat spray, to be honest with you. And I actually added all of those black lines as well. And I'm guessing he's going to be about the same size as Tom Holland, or if not smaller by the looks of things. Next up we have, what have I got here? I got this one here. This is from Far From Home. Again, I went off the other day with the Gundam marker and a flat spray and put over the top of this, kind of in preparation for this one here. And I do feel like he just looks a little bit better than that one there. I'm sorry to keep putting that suit down, but it's just my general opinion. And yeah, that's kind of that one on there. So we've got those sort of Spider-Men, and then I guess because Spider-Verse is slightly out at the moment, we do have Miles Morales just here as well, and he kind of falls in line with these guys. This is my Gamerverse one. He's like my favourite looking. And then I still haven't gone off and reviewed this one. I've actually just opened this up the same time as me reviewing these guys, and I've actually just picked up Gwen from the Spider-Verse as well, which I still haven't seen as of yet. But yeah, we got the other Spider-Man on here that we can put in, and hopefully at one point as well I'll probably put in a Spider-Man collection that I've got up to date. So stay tuned for that. Maybe I'll do it as a hangout at a later date. So thank you for joining me in this one. Don't forget, you can comment down below, you can subscribe, you can ding the bell, you can follow me on Instagram, you can join the channel for 9p or 99 cents for wherever you're from, and let me know in the comments down below, are you going to spend the money now seeing the review, or as you put off by the promo images, or you're umming and ahhing about it now? Let me know in those comments down below. Let me know your thoughts, and until next time, take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye.